Breaking news on the YouTube home for BamaOnLine.com as the Crimson Tide picks up a key 2025 target in cornerback Chuck McDonald of Mater Dei High School in Southern California. Tim Watts, Andrew Bone to break it all down for us. Tim, let's start with you. Familiar recruiting ground for Alabama, dating back to the previous staff, but certainly continuing on with the new head coach and Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, Chuck's a big one now. We've been so focused in California on Dejon Lee, right? That was a top target when Alabama got here. The new staff got here that we sort of just focused on him. But this guy came in. Andrew had a terrific story, named Alabama the leader. And again, we always grain of salt it a little bit. Not that we don't believe the kid had a great time, but he also has to go home, think about it, hear from other coaches, talk to his parents, talk to his the people close to him. But as we got later on in this week, I mean, we felt more and more confident that he wanted to go to Alabama. And again, Mater Day, Abdul Sanders, I think this is a school that's kind of like the jelly of the month club in vacation. There, you're going to have a little something every class. There's going to be guys you like. You won't get them all, but just to be on just to have that continuation, like they did with Xavier Brown. That's really, a little bit of home when those guys visit. So to me, top 100 guy picks Alabama, first pure cornerback they've got. Win-win, in my opinion.
Andrew and Chuck McDonald, 6 foot, 185 pounds. We'll get to some of the video of McDonald from a season ago here in just a little bit. But according to the On3 industry ranking, a top 80 ish type of overall prospect, a top 10 corner. And it seemed like Alabama was in there. But boy, coming out of that visit last weekend, what were you able to sort of take away from that really helped push Alabama to this point with Chuck McDonald?
Yeah, I mean, just a fast connection with the Alabama coaching staff, especially the defensive guys. Mo Linguist, got to give a lot of credit to him and Kane Womack. Both those guys went and saw Chuck back during the spring evaluation period in early May. Was able to get him secured for an official visit, and going into the official visit last weekend, I felt like Alabama was probably on the outside looking in, just because he'd visited the other schools before: USC, Oregon, Georgia. Those were the other contenders in his top four, and we knew that he had been to Alabama about a year ago, and there was interest there at the time, but it was still kind of learning about Coach DeBoer and his new staff and the defensive guys, and building that relationship and trust, um, pretty quickly. And they were able to do just that. They were able to bring him on campus for the official visit. And I think, having some other modern day kids at Alabama certainly helped. And it's always kind of funny because somebody mentioned the other day how modern day is a pipeline to Alabama. It's kind of like saying IMG is a pipeline to Alabama. There's 50 kids on these high school programs that are signing with different schools every single year. So these are some of the top high school football programs in the country. But Alabama has been able to have success there. I think they're going to continue to have success. And Chuck McDonald, certainly a guy that they liked a lot, was one of their top cornerback targets. And once they got him on campus, they were able to really close the deal with him. So big win there, especially getting him to cancel these other visits that he was supposed to go on this month before a decision happened. So great win there for Alabama at the cornerback position, and they're not done. I mean, they're still going after some guys.
You said it, Dejon Lee, some other guys that certainly fit the bill as well. Let's check out some huddle tape of Chuck McDonald from a season ago. You'll see him here to the field, working against a trips concept, eyes to the quarterback. There you see the break on the football. That's too easy. That's a pick six for Chuck McDonald at the corner spot. One of the things I like, Tim, and you talk about this a lot, positional versatility. Now, formation here may have something to do with him being inside instead of outside with trips to the field like that. But we'll see it coming up here in just a little bit, too. He gets through the trash there, boy, closes, and you like to see that sort of aggressiveness as a tackle. And here he is working inside. So, when you think about that Husky position too, Tim and Andrew, this is a guy that Tim could project at a couple of spots in the secondary.
Yeah, I see him more as that nickel. I mean, this is a ten
Yeah.
seven, 10-8 guy. He's closing in on 190 pounds. He's very physical. I mean, the one thing you know for sure about Mater Day kids, and we saw this with Sabian Brown, is the fact that he's going to be fundamentally sound. I mean, you see everything he does. he knows the offense, right? He knows what's coming. He knows how to read a play. He's smart. He's aggressive, and that confidence. I mean, he'll get up chest to chest on you. I mean, there's a prime example, and he fights for the ball,
Moment of
which is
truth
always
right there.
yeah.
Yep.
But he's going to fight for the ball. So he was in position. He found the ball, and now it's a fist fight. Rip it out. Take it from rip that basket and get that ball out of there. So he's got that quality in him. And again, advanced his learning curve will be smaller because again, here he is coming off his man, picking up on the inside,
Playing two guys,
making a
basically.
play
Yeah.
on the ball. But you know why? Because he's watching the quarterback and he knows the offense, the film study. So you get these kids physically ready. He's got the speed guy. And the one thing Alabama loves, especially in the secondary, are guys that can move, guys that can run. I think that's their MO. At the end of the day, I think they look for track speed first in a lot of cases and would like to get those guys. But fundamentally, he's got everything you're looking for. And again, latter day guy, well coached and physical.
Yeah, and love it that you're seeing him play a couple of different concepts. We saw earlier in the tape, Andrew, press coverage, stayed in phase, moment of truth, reading the receiver's eyes as the ball is on approach and able to still get a hand in there and knock it out. And then we see him with his eyes to the quarterback because I think that's going to be something you see more of from a Kane Womack defense in comparison to what Alabama employed previously. So it's not just positionally, it's concepts and schemes that you like to employ that he seems to be comfortable kind of handling all of it.
Yeah, and and Alabama also gets kind of their bigger body defensive back. A
Mm-hmm.
6 foot. I think he's listed at 6 foot. It might be a little bit closer to 6'1" now. I mean, he's 185, 190 pounds, physical guy. Played on the opposite side of Alabama freshman Xavier Brown last year. This is a guy who's going to be a 2-year starter for modern day. I mean, one of the absolute best high school football programs in the country. So he's well developed and certainly going to be a guy that I feel like is going to come in and be ready to. I don't want to say contribute, but he's at least going to be ready for what's to come in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, Tim, you talked about the speed earlier, sort of the track attributes. I think you see it on this clip because before we stopped it, a little bit of an out and up from this wide receiver. He's got no help right here, McDonald. And right now, it doesn't look so good, but watch the recovery here. Still is in a great spot to be able to defend that pass on the deep ball. So, really, when you think about everything you want in a corner, and understanding these are highlights and the best plays that he had from a year ago, still pretty easy to see he's got everything you want.
The thing about this, though, when you're watching the defensive back and he's lining up in all these positions and he's running the route
Yeah.
over and over, he's running the route. He's shouting. He's got the hips. He's got that closing speed we've seen several times. And physically, again, he's a big guy bringing down bigger tags. Example right there, lining up in the slot, lining up the
Hmm.
outside, hitting guys, bringing the pads, fundamentally sound with all of his tackles, hands around the waist.
Look at the shape he's
Bring
in right there. You said running the route. That's a prime example right
That's
there.
what he does watch on everything. He is running the route. It's like, first of all, that's his talent. And second of all, it tells me he knows
He doesn't
exactly.
panic either, right?
No, look, we saw that.
Poised.
It took what? Terry and Arnold 2 years to kind of get there.
Hmm.
Took Kool-Aid a minute to get there. A lot of DBs, because it's hard not to, when your back's to that ball, it's hard not to just grab them and snatch them. You know what I
Open
mean?
field. Open field.
Yeah.
Look at
Look at
his
that
head get
shoulder.
across.
That's as
Yeah.
fundamental as he gets. And another thing we should
Forces
mention
the
is
fumble.
that, like Andrew said, we don't know if he'll come in and start. We're not saying that, but we know he'll come in and compete. Why? Because he's been competing every day. There's somebody behind him going to a Power Five school. I mean, that's what it is at Matter
Wow.
Day. You got to compete. You can't be scared. You got to have some confidence.
Yeah, into the boundary here, playing man up, man coverage, stays in phase, good shape there. Yeah, everything you want to see. Andrew, I wanted to ask you because I understand Alabama's had a presence, especially at Mater Day, for years now, going back to the previous staff. But you've outlined some of the California guys and the West Coast guys, and it feels like the Courtney Morgan imprint on some of this. Is that a reasonable assumption at this point? Given what we've seen previously with him at other stops, or is it just more of the same that we've seen from Alabama in previous years?
I think Courtney Morgan, certainly plays a big role in that. Now he has a lot of connections on the West Coast, especially with these guys in Southern California, and that's what we've heard. Really, throughout this entire spring and into the summer. A lot of these guys that are coming in from California on these visits, they may not have a great relationship with a defense coordinator, a position coach, but they know Courtney. They've been talking to Courtney for a long time. I saw Dejon Lee a few weeks ago in Nashville at the On Three Elite event, and he talked about Courtney Morgan and the relationship that had gone back for such a long time, and that kind of created the early high interest in Alabama. But then once he got a chance to meet with the rest of the coaching staff, really fell in love with those guys, and that's what we've seen with the majority. Whether it's Chuck McDonald, Dejon Lee, Josiah Sharma up in Folsom, Abdul Sanders, the linebacker commitment for Alabama. A lot of these guys have a great relationship with Courtney, and I think Alabama, obviously, for the most part, they're going to continue to recruit the West Coast really heavily. Coach DeBoer's got connections out there, and I think that obviously it's a hotbed of talent, and it's been very fruitful for Alabama for the last several years, and they're not going to let it go.
For more insight like that and what you've also heard from Tim, you need to be with us at BamaOnline.com. The roundtable right now, as you might expect, exploding with information, insight, analysis, great conversation in our community there at the roundtable. Bama fans ready to chat it up with you, chop it up, unlike any other fan base there is, as we know, in college athletics or athletics in general for that matter. But also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you get a chance. We would certainly appreciate it. Just hit the subscribe button right now if you haven't already. Thumbs up, always appreciated. And if you turn on those notifications, you'll get all of our YouTube content as it drops right here on the home for BOL on YouTube. So, Tim, where do we go from here? This is a continuation of that momentum coming off the Keelan Russell commitment, the quarterback that you wanted to put in the center of the table there. Not sure if this is a direct response from that, but it's momentum nonetheless. And boy, it looks like it's not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is the hard work's paid off. I think we saw, I mean, again, I can't stress enough how busy they were in the spring. It was insane for any coaching staff, but a new coaching staff who was trying to actually get to know the players on their team hosting. I don't know, Andrew, how many you think they hosted? I don't even have a guess. It was well into the, over 100 in the first 10 days, it felt like. Yeah, there's a couple hundred kids. And, the thing about it is you're not hosting kids. You're hosting prospects, their mom, their dad, their coach, their mentor, their decision makers. You're hosting a lot of people. So you got to really shake a lot of hands, fist bump a lot of people. And as me and Andrew know, you get that busy weekend, you can forget a fist bump. You're yelling at your cornerback who turned his back, and you forget to fist bump the wrong person, and they can get offended. They did a good job of not doing that. And again, I mean, the courage to keep the Saban camp, which I think they did, Saban camp schedule because everybody's so used to it, and host these official visitors. I mean, 2 weeks this week you got double digits, and then in the future they're already closing in on double digits, and I think they're going to continue to do that. And again, you grind, which is the first thing, and you're capable of carrying relationships, which is the second thing. Those two hands in hands, you're going to have a good class. NIL is going to factor in, but you're going to have a good class.
Andrew, anything else before we get out of here?
I think defensive back wise, Alabama has Chuck McDonald now. They have Derek Smith at safety. They have Zamir Smith. So they have three defensive backs. Who else is going to be in this class? It's going to be interesting to kind of see how that all unfolds. Dejon Lee, another California kid that we talked about out of Mission Viejo High School. I mean, that's certainly a guy that Alabama has been pushing for a long time. He's going to be in Tuscaloosa on the 21st for his official before he makes a decision on June the 28th. Naheem Offord, 5-star in-state recruit on campus this weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this class unfolds. But great start. A lot of credit to that defensive staff, especially Mo Linquist, because he's extremely excited today with the addition of Chuck McDonald.
Yeah, Mo got some momentum on that back end of that defense and the corner position specifically. Tim, what do you got for us as we make our way out of here?
That's it. I'm good. I think Alabama's did what they need to do. I think they've did a good job. I feel really confident they did a good job because the rival fans keep telling us they haven't done a good job. I think that's always a good sign. Um, I think they're heading in the right direction. A lot of this is former. The thing I do like the merge of former relationships, when new relationships, they're merging all this together with the guys they're getting to know. And again, it's going to be a West Coast flavor because of where they were at, but they're doing a lot of things in the South too.
There you go. It is official as commitments get these days. California cornerback Chuck McDonald, an elite 4-star player at his position, has committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. For more insight and analysis from these two pros of pros, Tim Watts and Andrew Bone, hang out with us at the round table at BamaOnLine.com. For Tim Watts and Andrew Bone, Travis Reier, thanking you for joining us. And until next time, so long, everybody.